Okay, hello and welcome to opening weekend for Major League Quad Ball here in Cleveland, Ohio. We have the Cleveland Riff hosting Toronto Raiders. We'll get started here in just a moment as the captains finish their captains meeting. I'll be your host today, Matt Dwyer. Good to be with you. See, we already have a bunch of viewers. Here at Krensler Field at Cleveland State University. Quick little jaunt from downtown. It's a very beautiful 70 degrees, blue skies, moderate breeze, 21 degrees Celsius for our Canadian viewers. And as the teams take the field, we'll get into a couple of stats. So due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Toronto and Cleveland have only met 2 times prior to this meeting. Both times were a sweep from Toronto, so they are 6-0 lifetime against Cleveland. Last year, we'll do our 3 series scores: 165 to 60, 200 to 125, and 215 to 40. So not particularly close, as our captain's meeting has ended. Players are going to their benches. So taking a look at these two teams, in the 2022 MLQ season, Cleveland was an unfortunate 0-9 with series against Toronto, Rochester, and playing Detroit at the North Division Championship. Toronto ended with an 8-5, 3-0 against Cleveland, 0-3 against Rochester, 0-2 against Indy, then 2-0 against Detroit, and a series with Ottawa out of the division, a little Canadian classic there, putting them at 8-5 for the season. So coming in to this season with a winning record on the division last year, or at least even if you want to count only North Division games. Right now, Cleveland, they've got a lot to prove. Starting several seasons ago, Cleveland currently has an 11-game losing streak in the regular season, 13 if you include the MLQ Championship 2021. Their last win was against Minnesota at home back in 2021, and even then they lost that series 1-2. This, of course, isn't Cleveland's longest losing streak, of which between 2017 and 2021 they lost, if I have my math correct, 30 straight. So hopefully Cleveland does not continue their way there. Toronto, of course, due to COVID-19, unable to compete as much in the interim since they were introduced to the league in 2019. They have been a strong presence in the North Division so far, but have not won the championship for the division. Looking to do that this year. So teams are getting themselves prepared. We will be underway soon here at Krensler Field in Cleveland, Ohio. Teams now taking the field, getting started here in a moment, just getting the equipment situated. Like, so we've got some heavy gusts coming in, a little more than lightly breezy. I'm wondering if this will affect play at all. Very interested in seeing how this affects the passing game for each team. We have yet to see them this season as it is opening weekend, so we'll see what type of offensive and defensive sets they come out with. Something sure to affect defensive sets is the new reset rule, no resets over the midline. We'll see how that affects how teams defend and whether that causes more fast break turnovers or not. Head referee today, Matt Melton. We're getting ourselves started up here shortly as the equipment is situated. Get our equipment set up here, we can take a quick look at the makeup of these teams. Notable for each is that both are missing their lead scorer from last season. That was John Gaffigan for Cleveland, who is now, I believe, playing for Admirals down in Washington, D.C., and Michael Howard for Toronto. So already we're going to see a different offensive look, I think, from both of these teams once we get started here. Set up here, so we'll be getting ready to start momentarily.
This line right here is the out of bounds line. Due to the wind and the fact that we're playing on turf, if the ball goes way far off pitch, for a quad ball, I'll stop play immediately. For a dodgeball, I'll stop at a lull of play. Let me know if it goes into a dangerous area now.
Just laying some rules of the pitch here. Toronto attacking left to right in the red kit with black accents, and Cleveland attacking right to left in the purple and gray kit with the zigzags. And we are off. Cleveland first to get the ball. And that is Jack Mosley to Lombardi. Joseph Lombardi on the inside, and Lombardi scores on the opening drive. That is 10-0 Cleveland, coming out to the early lead. Devin Dutt now with the ball for Toronto. Dutt going to the far side. Cleveland with dodgeball control. Down to the back. Over to Steve Vendua. And Cleveland gets the turnover there. And Lombardi stepped out of bounds. Lombardi was under the impression that the ball was already out of bounds, and so unfortunately Toronto gets that one right back. So that'll be Derek Taylor on the inbound. Taylor looking for his options. Gets it to Vendua, blocked by Lombardi. And Lombardi, it's a no dodgeball situation. Driving in to Gaffney, to Mosley. All right, it looks like Toronto wrapped up in the back there, unable to find Vendua, and just threw that one away, and Cleveland will recover. So now Cleveland bringing up the ball. Fiona Gaffney up center. Howe in front. Passes to Mosley on the near side. Mosley not recognizing the sideline was calling for a green, but Emma Sherwood standing directly on the center hoop with a dodgeball. So now Lombardi on the handle, near side. Lombardi to Freeman. Freeman getting hit by Dutt, and Freeman's shot no good. Taylor Freeman, brand new to the sport this year. And that is a turnover to Cleveland as Lamb's pass has gotten away from them. Mosley driving in, guarded by Dutt. Mosley shoots. Mosley scores. And that is 20-0. Cleveland in the lead. 3 minutes have elapsed. So that's Vendua on the far side. Vendua, and the shot falls. Vendua right through the top hoop. 20-10, Cleveland in the lead. All right, Abby now in for Riff, bringing it up center. Abby down to Brechting, who's in at keeper. Brechting gets around Dutt, guarded by Scherger. Brechting shot or pass, either, no good. And that'll be out of bounds, and it'll be Toronto ball. And a quick stoppage here. And we'll be moving our setup just a titch closer so you all can be closer to the action. All right, stoppage just for getting a dodgeball that went far off the pitch. We are on a turf field, so they do tend to roll. And Toronto will have control here with Dutt up top along with Christos Kaldis. Down to Dykstra. Dykstra's pass, ultimately no good, and it'll be Cleveland ball. Cleveland calling for a no dodgeball situation. It's Boris, guarded by Levi Medeiros, and so now Boris will, and they'll now hold up. Pass inside to Brechting, beat before. Brechting's not happy about that one. It was a good feed. And it's a no dodgeball situation as Toronto runs it in. Brian Melker wrapped up on the play, and that's a stoppage there as Cleveland recovers. Number 22, Melchior, definitely had a head of steam there. And we'll see what this card is. And it looks to be a card on Brechting. So he'll swap, making Boris the keeper. And Brechting will take a moment in the box here.
Illegal contact, wrapping a player without a ball. 1 minute to sin binner until Toronto scores, number 20 on Cleveland.
And that is wrapping a player without a ball. So Brechting will take a moment or so in the box, and Caldis will have the ball to start for Toronto in Cleveland's keeper zone. And Caldis will elect to move back to the last restrictor line, and that is a much more advantageous position. Less defenders in the way, almost certainly. It's Abby and Boris there, and Beeler without a dodgeball. So Caldis drives in, and it's a good goal, and that'll be 20-20. So Cleveland now comes back to full strength as
That was their first goal? Yeah, I scored.
that's right, as Boris brings it up, flanked by Lamb and Abby, guarded by Medeiros. Some quick passes there to Boris on the far side. Boris, did he step out of bounds? And I think he did, and that's the second boundary foul that Cleveland has committed in about 4 minutes. They need to be a little more mindful of those boundaries. You're just wasting possessions. So Medeiros will get the ball for Toronto, guarded by Abby. Medeiros gets around them. Medeiros driving in, shot no good, and that'll be out of bounds, Cleveland ball. So nothing doing off the turnover from out of bounds there, still 20 all. And a few substitutions for Cleveland here. Johnson now in a keeper. Barnes and Dawson in at beater. Cleveland with dodgeball control. Lamb on the far side. Up to Johnson, guarded by Vendua. Johnson looking for the opening, floats it to Brechting. Brechting drives inside. Brechting's pass no good. Caldis tracing it down. Lamb gets it. Out to Johnson. Johnson's going to drive in. Johnson's shot no good. Brechting gets the rebound. Brechting hit, shot no good. And now Vendua has it. Vendua smashes into Abby and manages to cough it up. Scrum for it there. We'll see. Toronto ends up coming out with it as Vendua driving into 2 beaters, and Vendua scores. And so this now brings Toronto to their first lead of the game, 30-20, as Vendua driving into 2 beaters there. So Johnson now brings it up center here for Cleveland, coming near side with protection from Dawson. Dawson loses the dodgeball, so now Johnson is without protection on the near side. Johnson defended by Bunn. And that shot no good, and Dutt will pick it up for Toronto, and Dutt's gonna go for a run. He's got beaters in front. Dutt floats it, no good. And that'll be Cleveland ball. That was Brittany Kahaney in front for Dutt. Unfortunately got wrapped up, lost the dodgeball, and that allowed for Cleveland to defend and now come back on the counterattack. Johnson on the far side. He's got Beaton and Tuwarski. Toronto in a 2-2 with some high pressure. Pass behind to Beaton, and Dutt will come up with it. And now with control, Toronto will take a few substitutions, and Vandua will start it at center for Toronto. To Dutt. To Vandua, protected by Sherwood. To Dutt. Dutt's drive inside, wrapped up, loses the handle before he can score, and Cleveland will now slow it down. And some confusing calls from the Cleveland sideline about what they want their offense to do. Beaters need some time to get back into the play, so Johnson slows it down as he comes up center here. Johnson, protected by Dawson, shot blocked by Dutt, and Dutt picks it up. 30-20 is our score as Toronto is in the lead. Vandua, floater shot, no good, and no recovery there by Lamb.
Current score, Toronto 30, Cleveland 20. 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
10 minutes have elapsed here, and both teams not finding it easy to score. Their shots are not landing. We'll see if there are any adjustments made. Mosley back in at keeper for Cleveland, now on the near side. Toronto with dodgeball control. And now ball goes to Beaton to the far side. Beaton to Mosley. It's Smithson running all over the place, taking out all of Cleveland's offensive core. Toronto's on a run, gets around Mosley, shoots, and the goal is good. That shot by Matthew Bunn, and that is 40-20, Toronto in the lead. I had to pause myself for a moment as I heard cheers of "Eat Trash." Indeed, that's just Toronto's cheer. That is not them directing it at the other team. Or maybe it is, who knows. So Mosley and Lombardi, both of who played for Rochester in the past, now here for Cleveland. And it's Templin and Hutchman in at beater for Cleveland. Cleveland has control. Lombardi protected by Templin. Templin facing off with Sherwood. Freeman to Cowden. Beat missed by Smithson. Cowden throws it in, and Dutt scoops it up as Cowden was off her back foot. And some good defense there by Toronto, not offering a lot of options. So Dutt coming up, protected by Smithson, near side to Taylor. Vandua, they've got Dykstra low. Sam McCall checking in. And the ball down to Dutt, over to Dykstra. Dykstra's got some space, blocked. And Vindua, does he come up with it? No. Freeman ultimately gets it, and Cleveland recovers. And it looks like that might be a tackle from behind. We'll get our call from our referee here. Vindua's already walked into the box. He already knows. And that is contact from behind. So Vindua will spend a little time in the bin. And Cleveland will have the power play here. Toronto does have dodgeball control, although Sam McCall is on the far side, kind of in line with the quad ball itself. So if Lombardi is quick about it, can get it to Mosley and might be able to get the fast break here. Smithson is further back, so that is the lone dodgeball to beat. So yeah, it looks like Lombardi's going to slow it up and set up the offense rather than go for the run, allowing McCall to get back into space for the Raiders. And we'll see where they go from here. Lombardi protected by Templin. Lombardi driving to the inside. Up to Mosley. And Mosley's throw was after. And that goal is no good, and that will be a turnover to Toronto. .40-20 with Cleveland still on the power play here, although it has just been turned over to Toronto after a late throw after beat from Mosley. So now Dutt will have it, and Dutt's going to slow it down. Protected by McCall. Cleveland with control. Dutt on the far side to Taylor. And a good dodgeball catch from Scherger, but it's way behind the play. Never mind, Scherger gets it back in. And that is a turnover back to Toronto after that turnover in the middle of the field for Cleveland. And Toronto returns to full strength as Vindua hustles to get back into the play. And Taylor will take it to the far side for Toronto. Pass to Dykstra. Dykstra back to Taylor, guarded by Mosley. Vindua. Protected by McCall. McCall trying to create a lane here, but Toronto's attacking the other side. It's Dutt easily breaks Freeman's ankles, and Taylor puts it in. And that is a goal for Derek Taylor for Toronto, 50-20. And we are at 14 and a half minutes. So now Cleveland will bring out the ball. Scherger and McCall with control. A lane now after a throw. Mosley back to Lombardi. Lombardi, it's a block. Lombardi flips it up. Freeman gets it, guarded by Vindua and successfully defended, and Dutt comes away with it. It was a very beautiful play up until the fumble right at the point by Freeman, and Toronto saves themselves a score. Definitely a lot closer than previous outings between these two teams, as I mentioned at the start of the stream. And now a beater sub for Toronto as Brittany Kahaney comes in. And a pass for Toronto was good until the beat, and Mosley comes away with it. It was a good look to Melchior. Toronto calling out 1-2-1, presumably for their defense, as Scherger nearly gets away with the dodgeball there. Unfortunately does not, so that'll leave control in the hands of Cleveland. Mosley at the top of the key. Hard hit taken as Gaffney comes away with it with Mosley shot wild, and Vindua tackled in the Toronto keeper zone after Vindua came away with it. Beaters clean it up there, and now Toronto, with control, has a chance to counterattack. Rousseau now in as Vindua guarded by Lombardi. Lombardi's tackle fails. Vindua, he's going to take the shot. Vindua's shot is good.
16 minutes, 30 seconds.
We're at 16 and a half minutes. Just a quick stoppage here to get the balls. It didn't roll far on our turf. If anyone would like a money-making idea, I have one for you. Just like cricket has those little berms, we too should have little berms. And it looks like there's a timeout called, so we will have a stoppage in play as these teams discuss what they are going to do. 16 and a half minutes, 60-20, so we are out of flag range just barely with Toronto in the lead. And there needs to be some adjustments here. Toronto seems to be doing a good job of moving the ball, although they have had a few missteps with some of the receptions. And they seem to be, at least one or two plays I've seen, a little out of sync between their chasers and their beaters. I think that's something I would like to clean up, certainly if I'm Toronto talking in the huddle right now. Otherwise, their plan is working for them. They're doing semi-high pressure in their defense, making sure Cleveland isn't getting too terribly comfortable, although they are compressing a lot that Cleveland has been managing to take advantage of as they've been good at flipping the ball back out to Mosley and Johnson and Lombardi. Cleveland, unfortunately, the passes just aren't quite falling around the hoops. They might be able to get that first one, then that second one, but they are unable to really finish, and that's the biggest problem right now. So I'm not quite sure what you tell the team there. If you've practiced your 1-2s, if you've practiced just your quick give and goes, maybe that's what you need to do. But I guess we'll see what adjustment they make as the players retake the field and remount their brooms. Getting ready to restart play here. 16-30, 60-20 with Toronto in the lead. And with play restarted, Cleveland's going to make multiple subs to their chaser line, and Toronto will get themselves back on defense. It's Kahaney and Sugar with control for Toronto. As it's Gaffney and Lamb on the far side with Twarski. They've got Brechting deep. And it goes down to Brechting. Brechting not quite able to get around the defense, but able to get the ball back to Lamb. Lamb guarded by Caldas. Caldas pushing Lamb. Lamb's still in it. Lamb thrown down by the keeper and beat by Sugar. And Rousseau comes away with it. Toronto defense successful, and they'll go on a run. It's Melchior. Melchior getting around Gaffney, getting around Brechting, puts it, just over the head of Noel Starling, and Rousseau will come away with it. Toronto able to recover off of that bad pass. Rousseau pushed into the ground by Brechting, and it looks like Rousseau is down. Quick stoppage there for Rousseau. And it looks like there will be an injury sub for Rousseau. Hope they are doing well. Our score at this current stoppage is 60-20. Toronto in the lead, as one of the Raiders is seeing the athletic trader for the moment. And Rousseau is up and walking off. Hope that they are doing all right. With that, we'll see where the ball ended up there. It was Brechting on the tackle, so I believe Brechting will start with the ball. So we'll see what this is here as Matt Melton talking with some of the players. And that is indeed Brechting starting with the ball. And Toronto almost was able to recover the dodgeball, unable to do so though, thanks to Oler, as Brechting's mid-range shot, no good, but Trawarski able to put it back in with a little volleyball dip, and Trawarski scores, and that is 60-30, and we're back in flag range for Cleveland. High pressure by Brechting on Vindua. Vindua beat at the top of the key, it's Lamb protected by Benda. And now Brechting wants to set up the offense. Cleveland with control. It's Caldis and Vindua at the top, guarding Lamb, now Brechting. Kaz Christian checks in for Cleveland at Chaser. Lamb protected by Oler to Brechting, protected by Beeler. Brechting slams it home, and Brechting with just a quick 2-footer will score, and that is now 60-40. We're seeing some signs of life from Cleveland. Several other substitutions now for Toronto. That's Rob Alley and a keeper. Vindua on the far side, protected by Sherwood. Has Caldis as an option. Has Lamb low. Caldis with an absolute laser of a shot. Unfortunately, just a little high and wide. It was close though.
30 seconds!
Yeah. And we are at 19 and a half minutes. We are close to our floor. We will have a 1-minute timeout before we get our flag runner on the field. A couple other substitutions for Cleveland. So they walk it up slowly, protected by Howe and Beeler. Johnson on the near side here, beat by Maku. Pass way over to the top, over Cowden's head, and that turnover will signify our 20-minute floor. Cleveland managing to maintain control as we go into our 20-minute stoppage. Our current score, 60-40, Toronto in the lead. So it is flag range. Our flag runner here, Derek Parker, getting himself warmed up on the far side of the field. And this is where the game gets a little interesting. We'll see what type of strategy they want to employ with the close game. I imagine a lot of beater play will be focused on the flag runner in order to get that competitive edge. Our set score, plus 60 from the highest score, which is currently Toronto at 60 points. So our set score is 120. Fairly breezy out here today, but I haven't seen it affect passing too terribly much. I think the missed passes have more been either well defended or some inaccuracies. Waiting for teams to return momentarily. And this is a much different look than we have seen in the past. The past two series meetings of these teams, it has been, I struggle to say blowouts, but it has not been particularly close. I think maybe only once or twice has the score been within 10 goals. However, now we are going into the flag running game, set score 120, and just 2 goals separate these teams from being even. This is a very different look for both Toronto and Cleveland. And an early season win, either a win in the series or just a single win at the series, can really define what the season's going to be like for both of these teams. Of course, it will be a 3-game series today, so please stay tuned as we will have 2 more after this one.
So yeah, they're made out of the 3 different parts are made out of those ones are made out of yellow plastic, which melts.
And teams still taking care here.
To your rooms!
And they'll now return to the field. We'll see who comes out here at seeker for each of these teams. I'm spotting some yellow headbands. It looks like for Riff, it's going to be Aaron Oler. And for Toronto, it is going to be, we've got 3 in the yellow. We've got Smithson. We've got Savannah Campbell. And we've got Christos Caldos.
On this side of
Oh, and here we have Gabe Boris actually starting at seeker. So lots of yellow headbands today. And indeed, now here we have number 13, Corey Smithson. 10-second seeker floor, 60-40. And it looks like we've got an exciting one for us. Cleveland with control, Toronto with the ball.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Seekers release.
Taylor near side with the ball for Toronto, guarded by Johnson. Taylor easily steps around Johnson, driving on Tuwarski, inside to Alley, scores! And boy, wasn't that quick. And Toronto calling out they want a 2-2 set. Meanwhile, Boris getting some alone time with the flag runner. And so that'll make it 70-40, Toronto in the lead. As Maku will face off with Howe in the beater game. Lombardi bringing it up for Cleveland. Lombardi tackled by Lamb. Lombardi flips it back to Johnson. Great tackle from Lamb. Johnson shot high, maybe looking for Christian there, not quite sure. Either way, that's a turnover to Toronto. So Toronto will bring it up. It's Taylor once more. Smithson getting some time with the flag runner for Toronto. Ball far side to Alley. Alley. And that's a good goal from Alley, easily shooting aside Christian. And now that'll be 80-40, Toronto in the lead. And this is a big break open that we're seeing from Toronto. That was some very easy scoring. It looks like the beaters were doing a lot for Cleveland on defense. And it looks like we've got a stoppage for a potential defective hoop base. So we'll see if we can't get that situated here. And it looks like it'll be an equipment timeout. It looks like it's good here. And so we will go ahead and remount. And Cleveland maintains control. Howe and Beeler's gonna take a substitution as Lombardi brings it up center, guarded by Lamb. Lamb put him on his butt last play. We'll see if they can do it again. And almost as Lombardi flips it over to Christian, and Christian's shot is good. And it looks like there's a stoppage there. I think Sugar might have kicked at that one. Might have kicked the dodgeball off pitch. Looked to be a pretty hard kick from Sugar. I don't know if that was a beat attempt or what. $80-50 our current score. Toronto in the lead. Taylor has the ball for Toronto, midfield. All their chasers in a line. It's Starling and Alley and Lamb. Meanwhile, all the dodgeballs on the far side of the field near center, near the seekers, as predicted. And it looks like they want Alley to change his headband. A little too yellow, perhaps. So it looks like Sugar's taking a little walk here. And you hate to see this, a foul in the flag game.
30 seconds in the penalty box until Cleveland scores.
All right, and that's a blue card on Sugar, 30 seconds in the penalty box or Cleveland until Cleveland scores. And that's still maybe a little costly here as Cleveland's on the power play with flag runner on the field, especially in the beater game. I'm interested to see what Taylor will do here. Do you push it and try and get the score? Do you wait to make sure that you can kill the penalty as it's only 30 seconds? All right, so Toronto currently without a dodgeball. And Taylor will pass it down to Starling. Starling guarded by Johnson. Over to Lamb. Lamb gets around Christian, gets around Johnson, and Lamb's shot is good. Lamb took a hard hit from Johnson, but that shot was good. And Toronto scores on the reverse power play.
9, 8, 7, 6.
And looks like Cleveland will take another seeker sub. Smithson's still in there for Toronto. It's Mosley in its seeker, as Lombardi has it on the far side, guarded by Taylor. McCall going against Barnes. Barnes wins the exchange as Lombardi takes the space. Lombardi's going to drive in, past Taylor, wrapped by Alley. Alley puts it up to Brechting. Pardon me. And no, that it went to the outside. That did not look like a good shot to me, as Lombardi and Alley get wrapped up. The pass was not from Alley. Alley was guarding the pass. The pass was from Lombardi. It looks like our referees are talking about the goal there. It looked like it went to the outside to me. Current score 90-50. So if this goal stands, that'll be 90-60, and it'll be back within flag range. Parker seems to be having no trouble at all. And the goal is being called good for Cleveland. So that'll be 90-60. Toronto still in the lead. Set score 120. And it looks like Cleveland has lost dodgeball control. No, they've regained it, as Howe makes a quick move. And a bunch of substitutions for Toronto as Dutt comes back in at keeper. And Matthew Bunn now bringing it up near side. No beaters back for Cleveland, so Bunn's going to go for a run. Tackled by Lombardi, and the ball goes out of bounds, and Lombardi's tackle saves the run. Ball making its way back to Cleveland. Brechting will inbound. And had they gotten by Lombardi, Dutt and Bunn had a mean look in their eyes. Brechting will bring it up center. McCall at the top of the key looking to apply pressure as Brechting will get around the other side of Beeler, his beater. So Brechting pass crossfield to Lombardi, too high for Cowden. And was it out of bounds? Brechting picked it up, feeds to Gaffney. Gaffney guarded by Dutt, back to Brechting. Brechting blocked by Dutt. And Toronto will recover that one. Stonewall defense there. Great defense. And some more substitutions for Toronto. It's Mahou and Sherwood. Passing over to Dykstra. Dykstra down to Starling. Starling bobbles the pass, still in bounds. Wrapped by Cowden. And Dykstra, little soccer pass there. Unfortunately, Starling couldn't get on top of it. I really like that move. That was a good move. Both seekers vying for position. It's Caldis and Boris now. And some beater exchanges. Puts Toronto on top. And now Cleveland's looking to press. And the beat misses Lombardi. Lombardi over to Cowden. Johnson was also there. Cowden shot, no good, a little low. And Dutt picks it up. And Dutt's got no defender to beat. Skips the beat. And Dutt gets wrapped up as Lombardi gets back in the play. Dykstra shoots and it's blocked. Johnson wraps it up. And we'll see what the call is here. And it looks like one of the Raiders took a hard hit there from Johnson. And so we'll take a quick timeout. We'll see what that call is after the fact. And it looks like the injured Raider is up off their own power. Maybe just a bit of a hard hit onto the turf. That's Matthew Bunn. Hope they're doing all right. So the ball is currently in Cleveland's keeper zone. I'm not sure who comes up with possession. Toronto did have the ball. Vendua is now subbed in for where Bunn was. And blue card for Lombardi.
I can hear the ball. I don't know what the ball. Okay. I don't know what timing is.
And so I'm not quite sure what the foul was here. Let me hear it from the referee.
What was the foul?
I believe there was a failure to release after the ball was out. So anyways, that's unfortunate as Lombardi has been one of the top defenders here in this late game. And so Cleveland unfortunately is on the receiving end of this one. We'll see who gets the ball at the end of this. I think it should go to Toronto and Vendua. And never mind, Vendua was off broom. So that ball gets tossed back to Dutt. I'm a little confused why it goes to Dutt because Dykstra is right there. Perhaps that's closest spot to the foul. In any case, Dutt will start at the top of the key here. Dawson to his right for Cleveland. So Dutt is going to shoot. No good. And that power play is pretty much done as Cleveland just needs to kill the remainder of the 30 seconds. Meanwhile, in the flag runner game, it's Caldis and Oler going at it for Toronto and Cleveland respectively. Oler getting some time as Dawson is keeping Toronto away. Dawson and Sherwood facing off in the center of the field. Johnson bringing it up near side for Cleveland as Beeler and Sherwood. And, oh, the pass intercepted by Lamb. Lamb picks it up, immediately beat by Dawson. Dutt picks up the drop after that. Dutt wrapped up by Lombardi. Dutt to Dykstra. Dykstra wrapped up. Ball squirts out. And it's just a wild scramble here as Vendua eventually comes up with it. And Vendua gets tackled and beat. And Cleveland eventually comes up with that ball. Toronto seemed to be under some confusion of tackle from behind there. I maybe would have agreed, but I am not a referee. So Cleveland gets away with that one, and they will shoot it far down the field to Twarski. Twarski guarded by Vendua. Twarski sneaks it by Dutt and Dykstra. And with that goal, that is 90-70. Toronto's still in the lead. A flag catch will end it. Set score is 120. Dutt, guarded by Sherwood. Protected by Sherwood, guarded by Gaffney, rather. Blocked by Trawarski. It was a weak shot to the center, and Trawarski's going to run. No, he's not. Trawarski to Johnson. And that didn't seem to be a reset. And Johnson protected by Dawson. Johnson flips it out to Trawarski. Dutt's on defense to Christian. Christian's going to drive in. Christian's shot too high. And will that go out of bounds? Oh, it is actually off of Toronto. It's off, it looked like it was off of Toronto. But unfortunately, no. It seems to be off of Cleveland. That'll be Toronto's ball. That's Levi Medeiros here for Toronto, and Toronto has now regained control. And in now at seeker is Savannah Campbell for Toronto. See if Campbell can have some success against Parker. Dutt at center, guarded by Brechting. Dutt, little backhand flick to Lamb. Lamb handles it. Guarded by Gaffney. Passes over Gaffney to Vindua. Oh, pass bobbled by Medeiros. Medeiros wrapped up, puts it right into Brechting's gut. And Brechting manages to come away with it. Little scrum here. And all right, Dawson helps clear it out. Cleveland comes away with the ball. So that's good defense there by Toronto. And Vindua is very confused about what exactly that call was. We have a stoppage here, so we'll see. And Meldon is reaching for the cards. And Vindua just wrapped Brechting immediately.
I know he got. Ref, come on, that is a yellow.
Oh, that guy. I got you. Yeah, that's what yellow card, illegal contact from behind number 15.
And it was illegal contact from behind. So Vindua will take his second trip to the box. And referee's having a little conference here, seeing exactly what that is.
I know there was soft ones. I saw at least 2 hard ones from. I know.
Not quite sure what the conferencing is about. I believe Toronto is complaining about how how Cleveland is making some ref calls from the bench. And now they are being formally warned. So here we are, Brechting with the ball coming up for Cleveland. Toronto has control. It's Brittany Kahaney as Brechting's shot goes right into Devin Dutt, and Dutt will pick it up. Just a couple to beat, gets around Gaffney, beats. It's a long-range beat. I didn't even see where that came from. That was Templin, I believe, from the far side. Great saving beat there from Templin. As Cleveland looking for their options. It's a high pressure from Toronto. A block there, and the follow-up worked for him as Lamb picks it up, and it's Benda on the defense, knocks the ball out of Lamb's hands. Lamb's still going. Cowden's there, and Lamb's shot is good. And Lamb has been a workhorse in the latter half of this game for Toronto. That is number 7, Joanne Lamb. And that'll put our score at 100-70 with Toronto in the lead. Lombardi not paying attention as Sugar is right in front of him. Templin usually helping out at least. So Lombardi just flicks that away to Cowden, over to Freeman. And I think there's an advantage call on that as Freeman runs for it, and Freeman scores for Cleveland. And it maybe a call for contacting a player in the air. Freeman did jump to get the ball. And that was, I think that was Brian Melchior on that one. Referees will conference about it. 120. And if this goal stands, that is 100-80. Toronto's still in the lead, but it's a close one. Seeker's still spending plenty of time with Parker, who is seemingly not wearing down whatsoever. And just as I say that, he puts his hands on his knees. So I don't know, maybe he's getting tired out there. Either way, he's got size on both Mosley and Campbell. So that goal is no good. That was a charge on Freeman. A charge committed by Freeman, rather, against Melchior. So that goal is no good, and Toronto will come up with the ball after that one. So now Toronto will bring it up. It's on the far side, Vendua looking center. Melchior. Smithson now back in at Beater as Melchior shot off the top of the hoop and no good. So Cleveland will now inbound. Cleveland will hopefully inbound correctly soon here. Okay, finally. It's always important to read the rule book, folks, especially if you're playing the game. So Lombardi will bring it up center. And it looks like Cleveland has switched to Gaffney at the seeker position. Barker's very good at being a flag runner, so it's more seeker by committee for everyone today. Lombardi protected by Templin. He's got Boris, he's got Cowden, he's got Christian. It's Smithson at Beater and Melchior at the point for Toronto. Brittany Kahaney, the lone beater back for Toronto. As the step up, unable to stop the pass to Boris, which is good. And Melchior thought he was going to get a sneaky one and gets beat on the play. And it looks like that was a roll after beat. And so that goes back to Cleveland. That's unfortunate. Melchior just steamed ahead and summarily got hit. 100-80 our score here. Flag runners still on the field. Set score 120. And our referees are adjusting where the balls went after the stoppage of play, so it will be a moment here. And now we'll be ready to restart. It's Lombardi's ball in the zone. And yeah, Kahaney thought better of it than waiting so that she didn't lose the ball. So Lombardi up center, has beater protection, but Toronto has regained control. It's Smithson on the far side. Smithson, the lone beater back. Brechting driving in. Brechting beat. And Vendua comes away with it and gets Melchior. And now Melchior recognizes that the dodgeballs are down. Melchior keep going. It's an advantage call. Melchior slams it home. And he's feeling good after that one. And after this stoppage here, if that one stands, Toronto goal is good.
Yellow card, illegal contact from behind number 19 on Cleveland. Penalty time is negated by the goal, which is a good goal.
Penalty time to get it up by the goal, and that was contact from behind by Lombardi. And now with 110 to 80, it's goal to go for Toronto for the win. I anticipate some high pressure here. Beeler and Campbell still going against the flag runner here. Lombardi on the far side. It's goal to go for Toronto. Cowden back to Lombardi. He's got Boris square. Smithson sitting at the center of the field for Toronto. And the pass from Lombardi is high. Can Brechting recover it? He does. And Brechting, with no dodgeballs, feeds it inside to Cowden. It's a goal for Cowden. And now Melchior, Cleveland's maybe not paying attention. Melchior flips it away to Vindua. Vindua, was it a beat before? Or was it a good goal? There seems to be some confusion there. Was it a stoppage? Okay. It was a split-second beat right before Vindua's goal. We'll see what our head referee says. If the goal is good, that is a win for Toronto, the first of the series, and Cleveland's losing streak will be extended. Beat before. Goal is no good. Cleveland lives to fight at least one more drive. One goal to go for Toronto, 4 to go for Cleveland. So it looks like Levi Medeiros can be the hero of game 1. 2 defenders in front, plus a beater. Will Medeiros reset it, or will he be a hero? We'll see.
The shot was unscorable profit, so the goal is no good, but the shot still goes off. Fred had recovered the ball, so we're going to resume play with Fred behind the...
And Medeiros gets the ball because of a clear recovery by Red after unscorable ball. So Medeiros is going to run it in. Medeiros shot no good. And boy, was it close. And now Cleveland lives for one more. And Cleveland will make a few other substitutions, as they're still giving some small amount of protection occasionally to their seekers, as Parker is just holding his own as the flag runner. Cleveland near side to Johnson. Protected by Hutchman. Cleveland has control at the top of the key. Brechting to Johnson. He's got Gaffney guarded by Vindua. Handoff. Brechting, not really in a scoreable position, to Johnson. Johnson takes the pick from Cowden down to Brechting. Lots of compression from Toronto's defense here. Pass to Gaffney. Gaffney's shot is good. And that is 110 to 90. And it is now next goal for Toronto, and a catch from either team will win it, as Dawson will take a run for Cleveland at seeker. Taylor near side for Toronto. Melchior wrapped up, switches it to Vindua. Vindua just barely beat. And was it a roll after beat? And so the stoppage will do two things here. That'll flip the ball to Cleveland, as it was a roll after beat, but it allows Smithson to come all the way back to the field as Toronto's beater. So if Johnson's not paying attention, Smithson can cause a turnover, but no, he decides to throw it back to McCall. Smart move. Because there were no offensive raiders in the area. Cleveland still maintaining control with Hutchman and Howe.
Hey, you're right there, Kyle.
Johnson at the top of the key. Toronto playing a very tight 2-2. Taylor moving slowly back and forth as the point defender as Cleveland goes between the two. And Johnson shot too wide, unable to be recovered by Twarski. And Toronto will have one more chance to put it away. And the sideline telling Cleveland to press. And they do not, which I think is a good move. They're going to apply some half-court pressure. Twarski easily gotten around by Taylor on the far side. Taylor looking for teammates. Smithson coming to help. Smithson clearing the lane for Taylor of Toronto. And Taylor with just a light little floater through the top hoop. And we'll have a little referee conference here to make sure that there was no foul on that one. If this goal is good, that ends it with Toronto there. The current score 110-100. And this is the closest game, literally the closest game that these two teams have ever played. Still conferencing here. It was a smart move by Taylor to pull up and shoot as Cleveland's defense was compressed but not quite on the hoops. I don't think they were looking for that mid-ranger. Prior to the goal, according to our referee here, getting our story straight, he's got a yellow card in his hand. We'll see what the dramatic finish here is, if it is indeed a finish. And it looks to be a beater foul on Toronto. We'll get the full explanation in a moment here.
Goal is no good.
Goal is no good.
Player on Toronto was beaten. Effective play. Goal is no good.
Play after beat for Toronto. After the play, yellow card. 33 of Cleveland, illegal tackle. And that is a lift on the tackle. So because the second foul is committed by Cleveland, it looks like the ball will then go back to Toronto. Well, and that's a beater foul. That's hard to see right now. That's Austin Howell, who will be taking a moment in the box. Yellow card. You hate to see it in a high-pressure situation like this. 110-100. Set score 120. So it looks like Vindua, who has been instrumental in Toronto's success so far today, is protected by Smithson. And Vindua is going to run and puts the ball in over Gaffney's head, and that will be it for game one. As Toronto 120-100 is the victor for game one off the score from Steve Vindua. That'll do it here for game one, as our teams will rest and recover. Stay tuned here on the live stream. We will be keeping the stream going for game two, scheduled to start fairly soon. We'll get you an exact time here in a moment. In the meantime, did you enjoy this broadcast? You should subscribe to Major League Quad Ball on YouTube. Follow them on Twitter and Instagram, even Facebook. Wherever you use your social media, you should follow to see all of the MLQ action this summer. 5:30. By current watch, it is 5:15, 5:30 Eastern. So we will continue our broadcast announcing here in 15 minutes, so please stay tuned.
I know that you need your charger phone, but I've been checking Slack. But I also need to come down so they can come down. My phone is just, do you know your dad's number? Or they just go yelling. I know my mom's. What's call her from my phone? I'm really confused. My copy is literally just sitting on my phone.
No, if she was off to the side.
My phone was charging the entire time I got here now. Hey, table, we're putting a tent over you. Are you enjoying? Oh man, cord, wire, 1 second.
Yeah, you were a hero out there. That's some good stuff.
We'll be starting up again at 5:30 Eastern. For those of you who are still tuned in, thank you very much. We'll be starting Game 2. Final score of Game 1 was 120 to 100 Toronto with a narrow victory.
I left your handball. That was the thing. You were like, oh. Yeah, exactly. It's like you dropped the ball and you see something else. Right.
Not at all. Not at all. Although I am
Flyers Riff is probably my favorite. Like,
Actually, we have to see.
Having our captain's meeting now, and we will get our second game started in 5 minutes.
Yeah, just grab waters.
hello and welcome everyone as we are getting ourselves situated for Game 2 of the series between the Cleveland Riff and the Toronto Raiders. Game 1 ended closest that these teams have ever played, 120-100. The Raiders eking it out at the end. And they maintained a small but persistent lead through the end of the game. So, coming into Game 2, we'll see what type of adjustments both Cleveland and Toronto will make. I'm interested in seeing how close this one will be given the results of Game 1, as Toronto now taking the field and Cleveland getting ready to chant and do the same. The teams have switched sides, so if you're tuning in from before, we are now on the opposite sides with Riff attacking left to right, again in the purple and gray with the zigzags, and Toronto attacking right to left in the red and black. Riff now taking the field, and we got our equipment set up. Matthew Melton still our head referee. So taking the last game into account, Cleveland is now 0 for 7 lifetime against the Toronto Raiders. Although this was their closest game in Game 1, we'll see if they can put an end to the 0 at the beginning of that record after this game, and also extends their losing streak to 12 or 14, depending on whether you count the regular season or the championship included. Be interested to see if either team wants to use more high pressure during this game, as it was used only a little bit and not really as a regular strategy for either. And we'll get our opening cadence here, and we will be underway shortly.
Are you ready?
And we are off once more for Game 2 as Cleveland ends up coming away with the quad ball and Toronto comes away with beater control. Mosley on the far side for Cleveland, passing down to Freeman. Freeman to Gaffney. Gaffney's shot a little high as it was defended by Lamb, and Dutt comes away with it for Toronto. Devin Dutt running up the far side. Devin Dutt skirts Freeman for the second time and scores. And that is the second time in as many games that Taylor Freeman takes a turf nap from his ankles being broken by Devin Dutt. 10-0 Toronto, and we'll see, it looks like Smithson's looking to press. Pass down to Gaffney. Gaffney to Lombardi. Lombardi, we'll see if he can recover it. He does. Lombardi, wild throw, and it's just all over the place. As Mosley looking to drive in for Cleveland, guarded by Lamb. Lamb wrapping him up, takes down Mosley. And it's a stoppage of play. Lamb, as we saw in the last game, stalwart on defense for this Toronto team. Putting in the work again here. Not quite sure what the stoppage was. I believe a ball was far off field. We are, though enclosed, there's still some space around this turf field larger than our own.
I saw it way back there and I was like, hey. Yeah, we're just, there's our
So it looks like no foul on the play. There was just getting the ball back into position after it was far off field. So Mosley's shot no good, and Toronto will take over. And Dutt will bring it up once more for the Raiders. And with the center hoop down after the ball hits it, a good wrap up by Lombardi. The ball comes out and Mosley loses it. It goes to Lamb to Vendua to in. And no, that is not a goal. I'm very unclear as what happened with that one. Already off to a bit of a wild start on this one. Toronto running out to give their team some water during this stoppage. It is about 70 degrees or 21 degrees Celsius for our Canadian viewers. And that goal is good after a potential propel after B, but that was not the case. So goal is good, and that'll bring the score to 20-0, Toronto in the lead. And that goal by Steve Vendua, who was so good. Pardon me, Stevie Vendua. Excuse my misstep there. So good in the first game for Toronto. All right. So Mosley will start in the back of his keeper zone for Cleveland as they will now start their offensive drive. It's Toronto with beater control. Smithson and Sherwood put in a lot of minutes in game one as well. Lombardi bringing it up to Gaffney. Gaffney also part of this Rochester line. Lombardi driving in behind Howe, up to Gaffney, beat missed. So Mosley floats it to the medium hoop. And we'll see what the call is here after that stoppage. I believe that goal was good.
Blue card number 7, illegal swat, swatting a bludger after being struck. Penalty time is negated by the goal. The goal is good.
Okay, and that is a blue card on number 7, Joanne Lamb for Toronto for illegal swat, but penalty time negated by the goal, so no power play here. 20-10, Toronto in the lead, Cleveland drawing their first goal. And Dutt brings it up center, Toronto still with beater control. Vendua on the far side.
Side push, side push, side push!
Dutt. Vendua. Some bobbling there, and now Lombardi has a chance to maybe steal it. It comes out, and Dutt up with it, and Dutt beat by Howe. Lamb picks it up, tackled by Mosley. Ball comes out, and it is just flying all over the place over here. And finally, Gaffney picks it up for Riff, and they can start with their offensive drive. I think I don't know if it's coincidence or what, but we're seeing a lot of sloppy play early here in the second game. Gaffney bringing it up near side for Riff. Down the corner there to Lombardi, to Gaffney. Up to Mosley, beat miss, second beat hits. That was Sherwood on the cleanup, and now it's Lamb. Lamb's gonna go on a run, and that is Freeman with a charge from behind, and I think Freeman knows exactly that was illegal. And so that'll send Freeman to the box there. Freeman playing in his first MLQ season, late addition to the Ohio Apollos. Played with Ohio Apollos for his first season of quad ball ever this past year from the USQ season. So that'll be I guess it's not a turnover, it's the ball right back to Lamb. Smithson in front with a dodge ball to beat Gaffney. Doesn't do it, so Lamb passes to Vendua. Wrapped by Mosley, but it didn't matter, and that goal is good. Cleveland returns to full strength, and that is 30-10.
4 minutes.
4 minutes have elapsed. 4 goals in these 4 minutes. And Mosley bringing it up center. Toronto doing a great job of maintaining control for the majority of this game so far. Sugar and Sherwood doing a good job of that. Pass to Gaffney. She mishandles it. Chase to the corner. Ball to Mosley. Beat, and Dutt picks it up. Dutt's going to go for a run. Dutt streaking up the field. Has a couple to beat. Gets it over to Taylor. Taylor bobbles the pass. Gets around Lombardi. No, Lombardi. And it might be a wrap from behind. Lombardi had at least one of those called last game as well. And just as Cleveland got back to full strength, they go back down once more. And indeed, contact from behind. So Lombardi will take a trip to the box. And that is Taylor on the far side. Got Mosley to beat. Has Dykstra on the near side and Dutt farther upfield. So it's not looking good for Riff's D here as Taylor's driving it straight in. Floats it to Dykstra. Blocked by Gaffney. Dutt unable to pick it up, and the seemingly easy power play there for Toronto is mishandled. A floated pass completely allowed Gaffney to get back into a defensive position, and Cleveland recovers. Brechting bringing it up slow, trying to do some penalty kill. Sugar's going to make some pressure. Beeler says no dice. A pass by Brechting is no good, so it'll be off of Toronto and purple ball on the inbound. So Brechting gets the ball back at the top of the key. He's going to drive in. Brechting gets big and scores. 30-20, Toronto in the lead, but a Cleveland score.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release.
And Cleveland now returns to full strength as Dutt brings it upfield for Toronto. Cleveland scored on that reverse power play there. That was a bold move. It was the missed beat by Sugar that allowed the lane to come open, and then the pass going out of bounds. Ball to Caldis. Caldis down to Dykstra, whose pass is no good. Lombardi recovers it and gives it to Brechting. Brechting realizes that he's got no beaters to get past, stumbles a bit, and goes in, gets past Dykstra, got to get past Dutt, and backhands it past Dutt for a goal. And that's 2 in a row for Brechting. And the score is 30-all. We had a beater scrum here at center field. I think that's why we're stopping. It was Howe and Beeler mixed up with Sugar from Toronto. And McCall is right there too. And it looks like our referee has a yellow card in his hand. Someone's going to the box, and it looks like Sugar. So already lots of cards early on in this game, as we've seen generally Wilder play a little less reserved than in the first game.
Card, illegal contact, wrapping a player without a ball. 1 minute centimeter until Cleveland scores.
So with McCall off broom and Howe and Beeler in control of the other dodgeballs, it looks like Cleveland's going to have to make a quick run here if they want to try and do a high press. Dutt has the ball back behind his own hoops.
Sugar, 30 seconds and 10 seconds. So the quad ball was dead at the time of the penalty, so there is no quad ball turnover.
The ball was dead at the time of penalty, and that is why there is not a turnover.
Cool. Players, team rooms. One whistle to reach ball play. Rebound.
And we'll see if Cleveland's going to high press, and it looks like they will. So Dutt is going to send it way down, almost intercepted by Boris, and it is. Now given to Brechting. Brechting is going to run. He's got McCall to beat. Brechting to Boris, and then that was no good. The shot was missed. Wish he had that one back. He wishes he had that one back. So now Dutt will take it up again for Toronto. It's still a power play. And McCall's going to try and do it herself. And now Howe has recovered, and Cleveland is calling for some pressure. Medeiros is just going to whip it, and that's a clear there. Cleveland will get that ball back.
3, 2, 1, release!
And after the penalty kill, Cleveland will have the ball. 30-all is our score here in Game 2 at Krensler Field in Cleveland. Johnson now in a keeper, bringing it up for Cleveland. Riff with beater control. Stwarski on the near side. Little movement. Twarski feeds into Boris. Boris blocked by Caldas. Great defense by Christos Caldas. He's fired up on the sideline for that one. A veteran presence back now for this Toronto team. That's Medeiros coming up center, gets Johnson a jump. Medeiros shot just outside. Dykstra can't get the rebound, and Cleveland will come away with it. It was a nice looking shot from Medeiros. Cleveland wasn't ready for it, just a little wide.
9 minutes!
9 minutes have elapsed. 30-all. Boris on the near side for Cleveland. Protected by Dawson. Missed pass to Johnson, and out of bounds, Toronto ball. So Medeiros will come in, and it looks like he's getting called back. Did he go a little too diagonally out of the gate? Did he go a little far out of bounds? Well, he was out of bounds, rather. All right, there's a call that you must bring in the ball 90 degrees square, and that is the last warning according to our referee. Cleveland was looking for high pressure and now decided against it as Medeiros gets it again on the far side. And Bunn in the game ended up losing that pass. I think that was off the dodgeball. And so Johnson, oh no, Bunn was beat apparently. I think there was a little confusion by the referees. Either way, it's Cleveland ball. Johnson has it near side. And so Johnson looking to get around Melchior to Beaton. Beaton tackled, and Medeiros gets the cleanup. Medeiros, he's got Melchior, and Medeiros floats a shot through the center hoop. And after a lot of scramble, 40-30, Toronto back in lead.
Let away, let away! Hey, we got control, we got control! Help! Hey, Rob, chill!
And Smithson and Barnes trade beats, and Toronto's calling for pressure as Beaton's putting it further downfield to Cowden. Cowden inside to Trawarski. Trawarski spinning. Trawarski puts it through the top hoop. Ringer. And that is a good goal for Cleveland, 40 all. Cleveland managing to escape the press that time, but I think Toronto's looking for that high turnover. Vendua and Melchior trading passes as Sherwood now in at Beater, running after the ball out of bounds on the near side of the screen. Melchior gets around Beaton, gets around Johnson, and slams it home. Melchior a full head and shoulders taller than everyone on Riff's field right now. And a stoppage there to get a Beater back into play after a far run. And I also spied Derek Taylor in at Beater for Toronto after playing a lot of minutes at Chaser in the first game.
Yeah, right here. What's up?
So Lombardi bringing it up for Cleveland. Coming to the near side here, has Mosley down. Toronto still with Beater control. Mosley playing out of the backfield. And Lombardi trying to float it, no good. Cowden beat immediately on the pickup. And it looks like Toronto comes away with it after a couple attempts at getting the rebound. Mosley wrapping up Melchior. Ball comes out, goes to Bunn. Bunn running on the far side, passing it down to Dykstra. Dykstra bobbles it, picks it up, and Dykstra shot high, and Dykstra is playing after beat, I believe. So that'll be a turnover there as Toronto had gotten it.
12:47.
So we have 12 minutes and 47 seconds have elapsed. Our score 50-40. Toronto in the lead, but only just. So after that play, after beat, the ball comes back into Cleveland's hands as Mosley brings it up on the near side for Cleveland. Toronto still with control. It's Sherwood and McCool. Lombardi feeds to Freeman. Freeman, spin move. Freeman, big, and no good. It looks like Freeman's shot was low as Mosley just trying to get rid of it to save the fast break, and Mosley just shoots it wild. Toronto's beaters maintain control there. And it looks like they maintain control. No, Templin picks it up as Rob Alley is in for Toronto. Gets past Lombardi's tackle, gets past Mosley. Freeman, a little bit of a high tackle, and it looks like that was no goal. And I think Alley just got really low to the ground there. I don't think Freeman meant to tackle high. Foul all the same. So Rob Alley beat before, so the goal is no good. However, Freeman will take his second trip into the penalty box for this game. So I believe that should be a turnover to Toronto. And we're adjusting that now. And I may have been incorrect in that it was not Allie that was beat.
I don't know, but move more. Is he on line straight? He's on the line. Hurt. I know, but this way.
Or pardon me, it was Allie who was beat, but because of the foul is back in the play. So Allie's going to run it in. Nice, easy goal. And that'll be 60-40 as Cleveland returns to full strength. All right, we're at 14 minutes and 15 seconds as Lombardi brings it up center. Toronto with beater control still. As Lombardi dancing around a little bit. Gaffney passes to Freeman. Freeman, no good, blocked by, pardon me. That was blocked by Vendua, who has now since picked up the ball and is running down the field. Motioning for McCall, and Vendua shot wide. Medeiros will pick it up. And go across the field to Lamb. And Toronto will set themselves up now. Vendua blocks the beat. Tackled. Still looking. Has Lamb. Lamb to Dutt. Dutt running around. Blocked by Mosley. Or perhaps Gaffney. It was a little hard to tell. Toronto still with the ball. Do a shot low. They have now knocked over 2 hoops in the process of trying to score. And finally, Cleveland comes up with it. So a very persistent offense by Toronto. A lot of missed looks, unfortunately for them. And Cleveland will now have a second chance. Number 64, Boris, bringing it up near side for Cleveland. McCall and McCool maintaining beater control as a big bomb pass to Mosley over the top. Gets it around Smithson, who's now in at Chaser. And will it be recovered? Reset was used, so Gaffney has to let go of it, and Lamb picks it up for Toronto. Unfortunate there. Dutt has it center, protected by Sugar. Dutt. Caldas back in. Caldas down to Smithson. Smithson scores. It was a good clear out by Toronto's beaters to get Gaffney out of the way of the small hoop, opening it up for Smithson to score. And that'll be 70-40, and we are teetering on the edge of flag range again. And Cleveland will take their time out. Once again, another close game as it was in game 1. Be interested to see what sort of adjustments Cleveland makes after this timeout. I think that they probably are talking about how their defense is moving and probably how they can finish more on offense.
I'm like, I think about that.
You can get off and run.
The past few defensive stands for Cleveland have been fairly good, save for that last goal there.
It's tough. Dude, it's evil. I'm surprised it hasn't been. I'm surprised more people aren't throwing pressures. Yeah. Okay, awesome. So,
So with 17 minutes, we've got 3 more until our flag runner floor stoppage, right at 20 minutes.
You fell backwards into him. No, but I got tackled forward.
Toronto asking the referee for some clarification about some calls earlier.
I understand.
I think Toronto's feeling pretty good about their position in this game right now. Definitely more offensively cohesive than Cleveland is at the moment. It's just a matter of finishing that's really holding them back for a couple of these. Cleveland, they're one step away from finishing on a lot of these as well, and it's just not falling.
And then the arms went down. So I just wanted to know.
We were just getting excited on the side.
It also has been a boon for Toronto to keep beater control almost this entire game, whereas last game it was pretty fluid and maybe even a slight edge to Cleveland in terms of time of possession of the dodgeballs. This is one of those moments where I wish I had a little lower third stat like the NFL to tell you exactly how much possession time there was. Unfortunately, I have no such device, so I can only call it as I see it. Our players return to their brooms after the timeout called by Cleveland. Our score 70-40. 17 minutes, 3 to go before that stoppage floor. Boris for Cleveland, protected by Oler. And still looking around the far side. And Sugar way out of position in the far back trying to beat Brechting. And, Boris's little unfortunate misstep leads to a turnover to Toronto, and Sugar gets away with that one, being way out of position trying to beat Brechting. And now for the first time in a little while, dodgeball control, beater control is going to Cleveland. It's Oler and Benda. Caldis, posturing, throws it wide to Dutt. Dutt gets around Lamb, and Dutt, you hate to see it, puts it over the top hoop. Smithson recovers the eventual rebound. Smithson to Lamb. Smithson takes the beat, leaving Lamb free. Lamb to Caldis. Caldis laser. And Caldis is so fired up right now after that absolute beamer of a shot. And that puts it outside of flag range. 80-40, Toronto in the lead, and they're looking a little more comfortable now. That being said, they did have a bit of a lead in the last game, and Cleveland managed to close it a bit, so we'll see what happens after that flag runner comes out. As Cleveland puts it way in the back to Gaffney, whose pass back up top is intercepted by Dutt. And Dutt unfortunately jumped back behind the keeper zone line. That's an illegal reset, and that is a wasted possession there. You hate to see it. And so Twarski gets to pick it up at the top of the key, and Twarski has a couple defenders to beat. Twarski wrapped by Dutt. Twarski over to Gaffney. Gaffney finishes! And that goal is good for Cleveland. Great turnover to score Pipeline.
30 seconds!
And 30 seconds to that flag runner floor. Toronto quickly trying to make some last-minute substitutions as Dutt has it at the top of the key for Toronto. Down to Smithson, gets beat, and Brechting recovers it, and I believe that will be the 20-minute stoppage right there. And that'll be 2 minutes intermission. I think there's a problem with the clock here. I think there was a miscommunication with the referee. Currently 80-50, Toronto in the lead. So some referee discussion after that. I'm not quite sure what happened with the clock there. But in any case, the teams will have an intermission now and be able to strategize for when the flag runner comes on the field, of which Derek Parker will be it once more. There was no catch in the first game. Parker able to hold his own is
Captains, come here really quick. Toronto.
calling captains over for a moment.
15 seconds. So just really quick. Game transition. So we're gonna give this to Rick right now, and then we're gonna action and then.
And it looks like there was indeed a clock problem there. And our referee is adjudicating that as best he can. We'll see what the final outcome of that is. In the meantime, the teams will be gearing up with the yellow headbands. As it was last game, I expect it again to be seeker by committee for each of the teams. No one's going to send one player out there for so long, as Parker held his own until the very end.
That was like, who did something? It wasn't us. So yeah, quick update. We had I thought it was and the ARs thought it was a scorekeeper that said last possession. It was not. It was a player. Actual game time right now is 19:48. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give them the 2 minutes now because they're already on the sidelines. We're gonna have Cleveland do a last possession, and then after that possession, I'll stop play. We'll put the flag runner out, and the seekers in place, and then we'll go from there.
All right, an explanation by our head referee, Matt Melton. Thank you.
That's definitely not. That's too like low for what people actually. Just saying a different term.
So I think with the performance of the flag runner in the last game, I think teams may be a little more cautious with sending their beaters on the flag runner for most of this game.
Did they end up with ball?
Exactly.
All right, with that 2-minute stoppage up, teams will return to their brooms. So as Melton explained to us, we'll have one last possession, followed by a brief stoppage for the seekers to line up, and then continue as if we had just hit the seeker floor. Teams coming to their brooms now. Cleveland has control of the quad ball. I think beater control is a little fluid right now, as there are multiple on the ground between Scherger and Oler on the left side of your screen. So now with no dodgeballs, that pass from Brechting on the fast break is no good.
3, 2, 1.
And Smithsman comes away with it, and now it is the last possession, as we discussed earlier. So it will do a stoppage when there is a turnover, which there is right now.
Woo! Flag runner on the field, seekers to the box.
All right, so it looks like Mosley and Campbell starting at seeker.
50 Cleveland, therefore set score is 140.
Set score being 140 now officially, with Toronto in the lead at 80. It is 80 plus 60.
80. Yeah, okay, we heard 60 for a second. We're like, huh? 80, 50. That's cool with us. That's cool with us. Okay. We can go to takes. No, we're all good. What's that score? 140. Thank you. 10 seconds, seeker forward.
Run in front.
Run in front. Yes, got the countdown. Perfect. Rebound. 10.
So now with that turnover, Brechting at the top of the key, beat by Scherger, and Vindua comes away with it.
3, 2, 1. Seekers release.
Brechting might have been able to do with a mid-ranger there, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. So now Toronto with Mosley getting time on the flag runner. Toronto brings it up. Down to Smithson. Smithson, easy goal, driving it in. 90-50 Toronto. Cowden bringing it up for Riff. Campbell playing defense against Mosley in the flag runner game. Toronto with beater control. Sherwood gets the beat. Now pressure. Gaffney down to Johnson. Gets around Smithson. No. Gets the ball to Lombardi. Lombardi blocked by Vindua. And looks like we have an advantage call, stoppage of play. $90-50 our score, set score 140. And it looks like that'll be a yellow card on number 21. That is Savannah Campbell. Illegal charge as a seeker. Team seems to be getting her a lot of guff. You don't see a lot of charging calls on seekers.
Oh, this is memeable. This is a meme.
Referees discussing here. I'm wondering if they're asking if it is a turnover because of the foul. It is not a turnover, they have dictated, and so Vindua will get the ball in his own keeper zone for Toronto. And now coming up, Toronto with beater control here, keeping Mosley away from the flag. Vindua protected by Sherwood, over to Dutt, guarded by Johnson, down to Starling, beat immediately, and Gaffney picks it up, and that is Cleveland ball. And a long-range beat from Howe allows a lane to come open as Lombardi receives the pass from Johnson inside to Cowden, and Cowden gets beat. And it looks like that goal is no good. I'm not quite sure what the stoppage was there. Cowden is still standing.
No, blue. Back to red. Blue, red line.
And it looks like they're going to call Cowden out. Something that the referee saw, so Christian will come in. Goal was no good there.
From 10 seconds.
So Vindua has it on the far side there for Toronto. We'll see what the run is going to be. Cleveland does have 2 dodgeballs back, and Vindua will slow it up. And Howe maintaining control. Vindua flips it high. Is Starling going to get there? They do, and pushed out. And just like that, Johnson will pick it up. It was great hustle there by Starling, but unfortunately doesn't come away with it. So Johnson will bring it up center as Cleveland gets some alone time with the flag runner, as it was Boris for a second there, and now Boris is going to take a substitution. Lombardi on the far side, protected by Beeler. Beeler and McCall facing off. Howe also there. Riff looking for their options. Lombardi driving in, tries to get by Melchior, coughs it up. It goes to Johnson somehow, and Johnson finishes. I thought for sure that was straight into Vindua's arms, but no, it went to Johnson. Stoppage because of the hard shot, and the ball went far, so that'll come back to Toronto. That goal is good. 90-60 Toronto in the lead, set score 140. And I'm not sure if either team has gotten close to the flag at all. Lamb now in there for Riff, and Campbell still taking a shift for the Raiders. Melchior, protected by McCall. And Melchior pass is too high, or maybe that was a shot. Johnson guarding Vindua. Vindua been a workhorse for this team, and Melchior, the follow-up jam. And I'm not sure if that was and it looks like Howe will be coming off the field. And it looks like that might have been a head beat there. Play was stopped for an injury, and so we will continue after that good goal from Toronto. 100-60 Toronto in the lead, inching closer to that 140 mark after a big jam from number 22, Brian Melchior.
All right, goal was good. What's game time? 23-46. 23-46.
23-46 is our game time currently. So now Johnson will take it forward for Riff. And we'll see as Lamb gets some time alone with the flag runner. Campbell's still in for Raiders. As Lombardi has it on the far side for Riff. McCall threatening. Lombardi down to Gaffney. Pass a little short, bounces under Gaffney's hand, and that'll be Raider ball. So Dykstra will hustle that one back in. Campbell getting plenty of alone time here, guarded or protected by Taylor. And now Taylor and Vindua will come forward with their dodgeballs, clearing some space for Vindua. Brechting holds on. Vindua gets out of the grasp. Blocked by Lombardi, and Cleveland will come away with that one. Vindua clowning a little bit down there with Dawson. But Cleveland comes away with it. So Brechting brings it forward for Cleveland. 100-60, 140 our set score. Toronto with a comfortable but not insurmountable lead. As a bunch of dodgeballs on the ground, Brechting out to Mosley, who's back in at the chaser game, guarded by Melchior. Mosley's shot is good, and that'll be another goal for Cleveland. 100-70, Toronto still in the lead.
Come on, Gary!
Beaters giving, as predicted, the Seekers a lot more alone time with the flag runner. Parker a head and shoulders bigger than both Seeker. Medeiros at the top of the key, dodges the beat. Medeiros, quick feet, quick moves, goal. 110-70 Toronto, now 30 away. A flag catch will end it for them. I think the stoppage for a ball off field on the far side.
Hold me off.
I'm not going to. You keep doing that. Injury 7, Toronto, number 22.
And it looks like Toronto is also taking an injury sub there, and that is Rob Alley in for Ryan Melchior. As the sun's going down, it's starting to cool down a little bit here at the field. The wind has not been quite as bad as it was in between games, which I'm sure both teams are thankful for.
We're not putting a number on it.
Cleveland currently has possession of the quad ball itself. It's Brechting in the back corner on the far left of your screen, and he'll come forward. Toronto maintaining control as they have for much of this game. Brechting showing a little hustle, guarded by Caldas. Mosley looking to set a pick, and a little cluster here for Riff.
That score 147, 11.
Brechting far side, trying to direct traffic.
Good job, Ray.
Jaworski. And that one well defended by Toronto, and they'll come away with it. Pardon me, that was Jaworski. I'm getting that name wrong. That's Dykstra on the far side, looking to come in. Down to Medeiros. Medeiros square to the hoops. Gets out of Jaworski's defense, and it's back up to Dykstra to Alley. Alley down to Caldas. Defended by Mosley, and Mosley gets away with it, and he'll go with the ball. We'll see when a beater can get into the play for it.
You're okay, you're okay. Okay, nothing's happening yet.
And after a turtle, little defense there, the 10-second countdown ends, and it'll be Cleveland ball, and it looks like Mosley got a little caught up in that one. That was an injury sub, so Freeman will sub in for Mosley. Toronto with control as Cleveland brings it up. 110-70. Toronto in the lead. 140 the set score. Boris Brechting. A catch from Barnes gets beater control back as Brechting's shot is high as he's under heavy duress from defense. Freeman manages to recover it, and it squirts it out to Boris, and off that defense, it just comes directly out of Boris's hands. And we'll see what the beater foul here is. At least I believe that's what the stoppage was. Referee's discussing here. I didn't quite see the play. Barnes had a great catch that briefly got Cleveland control, and it looks like Barnes will take a little trip to the bin.
That was my fault.
It's a blue card. We'll get the call here in a moment.
Blue card! Making illegal ref calls. 1 minute penalty box start until Toronto scores.
Making illegal ref calls. Rather using referee calls. We know what he means. So we'll see what the beater situation here is after that, and I think Toronto should come away with the ball after this, and indeed they do. That's McCool, who's there in a beater at the front of your screen, and it's Lamb way back for Toronto back in the keeper zone. lots of explanation by the referees to assuage Toronto's worries or whatever complaints they may have. All right, so now with the restart here, Toronto has the ball. It's Alley bringing it up center. And Alley tries to hit Lamb on the run. Timing was a little off, but Lamb recovers it. Brechting defending. Lamb gets the ball out to Medeiros. Medeiros gets by Boris. Boris holds on, but that goal is good by Medeiros, and that is 120-70. And ever closer, now just 2 goals away for Toronto. And the Beaters have all but left the Seeker game completely alone, as Parker is bigger than both Campbell and Cowden on either team Seeker. I don't believe that Campbell has subbed out that I've seen. She's just been trying the entire time, which is a Herculean effort. Johnson on the near side here for Cleveland, guarded by Lamb, almost pushed out of bounds, manages to get it to Lombardi. Lombardi, ill pass there to the referee, and Toronto gets that. Toronto looking for their fast break as Templin gets the lone dodgeball back. Lombardi guarding Alley, gets Alley to cough it up. Lombardi picks it up. Is it out of bounds? And no, manages to swat it back in bounds. And Brechting, or no, pardon me, that's Johnson who ended up picking it up. Toronto, easy block by Sherwood, trying to maintain that control as Alley picks off either a pass or a shot, not quite sure what that was, as he'll go on a run, tries to get around Freeman. Now goes to Bunn, to Smithson. Smithson driving in, blocked by Johnson. And Johnson picks that one up. And Smithson a little bit disappointed at that play. Smithson looking to do high pressure. Now thinks better of it as Templin pushes him back. Lombardi protected by Templin. Templin gets beat. Lombardi tries to flip it to Johnson. Just a little behind him, and that is Toronto ball. The pressure was coming. Lombardi felt it. And now that's an inbound by Smithson, and he'll bring it up for the Raiders. 2 goals to go for Toronto. Smithson to Dutt. Dutt mishandles it, recovers. Dutt gets around Freeman, blocked by Beeler, and Johnson picks it up. And that is a good defensive stand there by Cleveland, helped out by Devin Dutt not using 2 hands. Gaffney now subbing in at Seeker for Cleveland. We'll see if she can find any success as Sherwood makes the rare Seeker beat in this game. And now the pressure's on as the Beaters are down for Riff. Lombardi looking for his options, just tries to throw it back, and that'll be a reset, I believe. So, yep, that just goes to Toronto. So Dutt will just pick it up at midfield. Unfortunate move there. As Smithson defended by Lombardi, the ball gets out. It's in Dutt's hands. Tries to shoot inside to Starling. Starling shot high. Smithson on the recovery. Smithson put some mustard on that one. Is that a good goal? We will see. Smithson with the pull-up jumper. We'll see if that one's a good goal, in which case that'll put them at goal to goal. Goal to goal. Goal to go. Oh boy, say that 5 times fast. It's 120 to 70 right now. Toronto has kept this lead for the majority of this part of the game. The majority of the flag runner floor. Or past the floor, rather. Referee's still conferencing on whether that one was a good goal or not. First game we saw Smithson mainly in at beater, and now Toronto's sideline asking me to go to the eye in the sky judge. I'm not sure we hooked that one up. Goal is no good. There was a beat well before the ball made it to Smithson. So that leaves it at 120 to 70. Toronto still just 2 goals away for the set score of 140. Cleveland, a solid 7. I think right now Toronto is definitely looking like the better team after a very close game 1. Definitely more put together on offense, and keeping dodgeball control for essentially this entire game certainly helps them on defense. Cleveland was having a lot more trouble with movement and even getting to that second pass on offense. And I think that's really what's been killing them in this deficit. So after that beat before call, Johnson will have the ball for Cleveland as he'll move it slowly up the field. They'll do a couple substitutions. McCall and McCool with dodgeballs for Toronto. Been playing pretty lockdown defense on the beater side of things as far as Toronto goes. Gaffney and Campbell just continuing to try and catch Parker, the flag runner. Twarowski pass to Beeler, who is now in at chaser. After most of the game at beater, manages to come up with that, and I'm not quite sure what happened there. A little hard to see with Toronto's bench in my line of sight. And it looks like Twarowski is going to come off the field after that recovery. So they'll send Beaton in at chaser for that. So I think that recovery is Toronto, if I can understand this right. I'm sorry, Toronto's bench is directly in the way, so I can't see who actually has the ball. It looks like Smithson with the ball back there. And to Dutt, and Dutt's going to go on the run. Is he going to go route 1 all the way? He's got Johnson in the way and underhands it through the small hoop while running directly at Johnson. About a foot of size difference there. And that is now 130 to 70, and it is goal to go for the Raiders, and they are looking much stronger at the end of this second game here. Johnson's shot no good wide right, and that possession is, I don't want to call it wasted, but, you know, they didn't do anything with it. As Smithson runs it up the other way, will Toronto end it here? Smithson finishing. There was no beat there. It was coming in close. And that is it. Smithson finishes it for Toronto, 140 to 70. And with 2 victories in a row, Toronto will take the series. And there is one more game to be played. So the all-time win streak, Toronto versus Cleveland, extends to 8 games. 8 games in Toronto's favor. Cleveland's losing streak, both to Toronto and in the league, extends. Well, keep it locked here on this stream as we've ended Game 2, and now we'll soon be starting Game 3. If I'm hearing correctly from the bench, we will be starting at 6:55 Eastern Time. So please keep your stream locked here in the meantime. And hey, while you're waiting, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell so you can see all of the live games that will be played throughout the summer here for Major League Quad Ball, culminating, of course, at the championship in August. We're in for a summer of a lot of good quad ball, a lot of interesting changes in rosters from all of the teams. As you've seen here, this is the closest these teams have played since their inception. We'll take a quick break here. Keep it locked.
No, I graduated. I graduated from OU.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Nice.
I went to
That was the funniest thing I've seen in a long time. That was amazing. Very good, very good. No, it's brilliant. Like,
Was your athletic trainer?
Did you get retaped? Is this your first?
It is actually.
Really? Yeah, that's funny.
Yep.
I remember one point we had a training team, and they were like,
Yeah. I did, like, I knew of football.
Yeah.
You know, so I knew that it's, and like, I was just telling them,
I think I'll break myself. Like, there was people over
we were state grads, so
Yeah.
I knew that you guys get it. I just kind of mentioned it.
Oh, yeah.
I was told I wasn't going.
I know, but
I
then we
can't-
lost Aaron. We lost Abby. Rob. That's no what.
Yeah, I
We're
know.
just pissed off at you and Rob.
I know what. Well, how physical have they been? They're not going to full just mow me down.
They've been fun.
Okay.
They've been hitting, but not like
If I break my hand again.
That's fair. I checked with Jack.
You hear me say again?
Yeah, how's that happen?
Second person.
To break your femur.
Femur and whole footage went down.
I mean, I believe that.
we're stopped. And then it's just like,
We were on turf, and this girl was racking me up.
1-7, you good?
And made contact with my neck fitness. So she weighed down, pushed me into the turf, and I tried to spin out of it. But because of the cleats on turf, my foot didn't move, my body did, so I have a spiral fracture.
We're like,
And I have a little rod from here to here.
That is wild.
as long as I can walk, I got it.
Cool story.
Yeah. It is a cool story. You gotta be like, if that had to just, had to be just right.
No. It's happened twice in all of Quidditch history.
Right.
The conditions just had to be.
throughout my entire foot, not my toes, and it's going up and down.
Okay. Yeah, let's not get
Yeah, I try to walk it off. It just got worse. Well, we'll find out. Yeah, it's by my bag. It's by where you see the body armor, the red body armor in the corner.
Alright, so where
Yeah, but it's about the same amount of paint everywhere.
so it's kind of going there.
It's mainly up here. It's weird. So it's like it's here, but it also feels like across. I feel it. Yeah. It doesn't. I mean, it's relative compared to other stuff. It hurts the most, honestly, but it's. Not really.
So probably string.
I'll take the string right now.
Yeah, so you might have that snap you felt was probably something.
Yeah.
I would definitely, I wouldn't go back in.
Oh, absolutely not. No.
I won't let you.
I won't let myself.
Well, with that, she would not let you.
I tested paint once when I hurt my knee, and I'm like, I'm gonna go back in, and thankfully it's the other leg, the knee there.
Yeah. So and that the Achilles goes like it attaches to the so that's why it can get
So it hurts even like the most when it's flat down like this. I will left.
probably because you're kind of
And are you guys taking inventory to the side?
you might have also so the Achilles kind of comes it shares similar so when you sometimes like so when you kind of went back and
Makes sense. First time I've got an ankle injury, but it's been a while. First time I got an ankle injury was 11th grade. I went to combat and I rolled my ankle one way. So the play was still going, so I kept going, and I leaned up and I rolled the same ankle the other way. So yeah, it was like 2 weeks.
but yeah, I would just kind of, take it easy for now, see how it goes. I would say, it's not a bad idea, you can let it rest for tonight. Yeah, because you just don't want to further injure your Achilles. Okay, where's your
All you need to do is put on these sunglasses and let me take a picture. I'm the one making it. That's right. I can see what they're doing. On the Riff, with her Instagram and probably get your picture. Put them on and then I take a picture. A picture, not a video. No. outside, but I'm like, oh man, I gotta run again. I'm still involved. I was practicing for it. After they got to the gym, I was like, I need to update that. So if I also have Toronto in it and I have both teams, then we'll begin. You can say no.
So if you clear it with gameplay, I'll be like, you gotta clear it with gameplay to get a full time. I'm not the one saying no. It's just, I realized after the fact, MLQ almost is a problem.
Hey, 3 minutes till game start time. 3 minutes till game start! We're going to be discussing what things to do. Yeah. I read going real late. Yeah.
All right, hello everyone, and welcome back as we get ourselves set up here for Game 3 of this series between Cleveland Riff and the Toronto Raiders here at Krensler Field in Cleveland, Ohio. The sun is setting. We're losing daylight. We'll soon get this last game underway. Toronto has already won the series. They have won the first two games. The first game, a close one, 120-100. The second game, 140-70. So with that, a fairly decisive win in the second game. We'll see if Cleveland can turn around for this last one and get a win to have at least one in the chamber for the series, for a series this season, to try and build some momentum moving forward. As discussed earlier, Cleveland is on a long losing streak and unfortunately is 0-8 against Toronto thus far all time. So we're having our captain's meeting here just to the left, and we will get underway relatively shortly. It's been a story of individuals and of teams here, and I'll tell you exactly what I mean. There have been a lot of standout performances. Stevie Ventura for the Toronto Raiders, Corey Smithson also for the Toronto Raiders, both putting in big minutes. Devin Dutt, Joanne Lamb putting in huge minutes. Toronto's beaters, the entire core, holding on to dodgeball control the entirety of the last game, really giving Cleveland a lot of problems. On the Cleveland end of things, it has been a group effort, a lot of hard playing from the likes of Corey Johnson, Pete Brechting, Joseph Lombardi, Fiona Gaffney. But unfortunately, they have not meshed as well in the second game, and their offensive sets were a little more lackluster than in the first. So the captains are shaking hands. They will get themselves off to their sides of the field, do their chants, and we will get underway here shortly. See if Cleveland can pick up this final win.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cleveland, this is for you! Do you remember Cassie? You know, every time people say something about oh no, just begin with a 3.
Once again, our teams have switched sides. So Toronto will be attacking from their game 1 position, left to right in the red and black. Cleveland attacking right to left in the purple and gray. Cleveland slowly moving themselves to the line. Toronto all ready to go.
Do you guys know who's...
No, I think I know what it is. Yeah.
For those of you who are just joining us, we are at Game 3 here, Toronto versus Cleveland. Toronto winning the first 2. Cleveland hoping to pick up the win in the third, or Toronto hoping for the sweep. Matt Melton, our head referee, getting our players underway here. And we are off for Game 3. Toronto and Cleveland scrumming for it, and Cleveland ends up with the ball for the third time to start the game. Brechting at center.
I'm good. See if I got one more in me.
Gaffney on the side there. Toronto has beater control, and it's a launch pass to Boris. Boris gets it around Derek Taylor, who's back in the white. And that is a goal for Cleveland, 10-0. Dutt now bringing it up for Toronto. Protected by Sherwood. McCool.
That's it, Emma. Take it, Emma. Have it. Have it, Emma. Have it. Have it. Heartbeat. Heartbeat.
Dutt.
Heartbeat.
Shooting, and Dutt's mid-ranger is good through the top hoop. And that'll be a quick stoppage as they get that ball back after a long, long run. And that'll be a resumption of play as Mosley will bring it up here for Riff. 10-all our score here in game 3.
Let's go, Riff. What are we doing? What are we doing? Let's communicate.
Mosley on the far side.
Speed her left. Speed her left.
Dawson dodges a beat. A same pass to Boris, blocked though at this shot. Boris went for the middle hoop that time. It was blocked by Taylor. And now Vindua, who has been an absolute workhorse for the Raiders this series, passes it off to Taylor once more. Guarded by Brechting, Vindua, and Vindua's mid-ranger is good, and shooters got to shoot, as they say, 20-10. Riff with beater control after the last possession. Mosley calling out Diamond for his offense. Boris on the near side. Dutt at point defense. Back to Mosley. Big pass over the top to Brechting. Puts it into Boris. Really put some heat on that one. Boris couldn't handle it. And Toronto will recover. Toronto ball. Beater substitution puts Sugar in, Alexander Sugar for Toronto. And some traded beats there. Taylor to Dutt. To Vindua.
Side push, side push.
To Taylor. Taylor takes the beat. And Boris recovers. And that's some good defense. So Cleveland loses beater possession there as Gaffney brings it up center. Now moving to the far side. Johnson over to Lamb. Gets a weird one out to Lombardi, blocked by Taylor. Lombardi recovers. Lombardi wrapped up. Lombardi can't get an arm out. Sky hooks it to Gaffney, goes right between her legs. Unfortunate. Gaffney running around, guarded by Vindua. Gaffney gets around. Gaffney, mid-ranger is good. And that is 20-all. Cleveland showing a little life on offense here. Vindua on the far side as McCall comes in for Toronto. Same with Medeiros. And a lot of beats on the inside. Leaves Vindua open for a mid-ranger. And stoppage just to get the ball. And we've had... And it looks like Vindua will sub off for some potential injury. So Caldis will come in.
4 minutes.
I got bandits somewhere in my car. I used my healthcare to get free stitches 2 minutes ago.
30 to 20.
3.5 hours.
All right. Johnson bringing it up for Cleveland now.
I was about to say, don't rub that in.
Johnson looking for his options. Has Benda. Benda protecting Lombardi. Lombardi going to the far side. Lombardi posturing. Passes to Johnson. Down to Gaffney. Pass was two in front of her. Gaffney recovers, gets it to Lamb. Lamb wrapped up by Caldis. Lamb tries to shoot it and blocked and taken by the other Lamb, Joanne Lamb. We've got Eric Lamb and Joanne Lamb. And it looks like one of the Raiders players has a bit of a cramp. So we will have a stoppage here for injury. And that's Levi Medeiros being helped off with the cramp. So hope that he is well and gets that worked out.
Is this possible?
Some referee discussion here. I'm not sure if they saw a foul on the play or not, so we're waiting for that call. There is no penalty. And so now Toronto will have it after that good defense at the hoop there by Joanne Lamb. Dutt brings it up as Toronto has a bit of a line change. Dykstra now in. Smithson now in, back at beater. And Dutt tall over the top to Caldis. Caldis with a zinger, and he puts it through. And it's shots all around for everyone today. That puts it 40-20 Toronto. Lamb, Eric Lamb, that is, on the near side to Johnson. Johnson driving in. Johnson shot low off the T-bar. Gaffney wrapped up without a ball, and it looks like she was never able to pick up the ball in the first place, so that's probably going to be a card. And looks like Derek Taylor will take some time in the box after that illegal wrap. So the power play for Riff for 1 minute. Ball will probably go back to Gaffney. Sam McCall has her work cut out for her here to try and get back in the play. Or sorry, it looks like the ball goes to Lombardi. And pardon the siren in the background here. As Lombardi passes to Lamb, who loses his broom. And Toronto's going to go in the opposite direction. Caldis dodges the beat. Caldis over to Dutt, who mishandles it, picks it up. Dutt tries to get around, loses it, and sends it backwards, and that'll be a turnover. And Cleveland will get it on their side of the field. So the mishandling by Dutt allowed for the defense, allowing Cleveland to get the turnover from a reset as Gaffney sends it to Johnson. Johnson sends it back, avoiding the beat. Gaffney to Lombardi. Inside to Lamb. Easy goal for Lamb. 40-30. Toronto's still in the lead, but Cleveland hot on their heels. Almost a full line substitution for Toronto there. It's MLQ, it's Caldis, it's Alley, Dykstra, it is McCool, it is Kahaney. Caldis on the far side here. Pardon the continued sirens, we're almost through them. Alley's shot/pass is too high and too wide, and so it looks like Riff will have to inbound it here. And Riff will take it. Riff also with some substitutions. Beaton in at beater, along with Sam Beeler, and a chaser, Taylor Freeman, Kerry Cowden. Johnson bringing it up center.
Watch
Johnson looking for his options after beaten trades, gets it to Lombardi. Lombardi driving in. Lombardi shot low, and Toronto will recover that one. And I'm not sure what that stoppage is. Lombardi had the angle, just put a little too much torque on it. Shot went low. I think that's one that he would want back. (40-30) our score still. Raiders in the lead, looking to make it a sweep. Nearly 8 minutes of gameplay have elapsed. Apparently that ball did go through the hoop. It looked low to me, but our referees have determined otherwise. So that goal is good. And that is 40 all.
Was that addition to this? No, okay, got it. Never mind.
And Alley starting with the ball for Toronto is going on a run. Alley's got long legs, big strides, going through, blocked by Cleveland as Lombardi gets ripped down by Melchior, but Cleveland still manages to recover. Alley really had the step on him there and just gets blocked at the last moment. And it's been a day of stoppages here as our referees discuss this one. I'm not quite sure if they're determining whether that was a goal or not. So that'll be a card on Rob Beaton. Legal contact, so that'll be a turnover to Toronto after Rob Alley's unfortunate miss. That's not giving Cleveland credit. He missed because Cleveland defended it well. So Melchior with Cowden trying to drag him down, but it wasn't enough, and Melchior decides that he's got a little telescope seeing a goal. The ball went quite far, so we'll have another stoppage. So after Melchior's goal, that's 50-40 in favor of Toronto. And Cleveland will make a few substitutions. Kaz Christian and Jack Mosley now in.
I like it.
Mosley calling out the play as Beaton trades beats. Apt name. Passes to Aaron Oler. Oler gets taken down, tries to get the ball out. Nope. And Melchior will pick it up. He's going on a run. The beat misses, and Melchior slams it home in the small hoop. And Melchior is feeling good. That is 60-40. 9 minutes have elapsed.
9 minutes.
Mosley bringing it up the far side for Cleveland. Pass way far down to Oler. Oler shot high. And it looks like that's going to be a reset, and that'll be Toronto's ball. Dykstra's inbound to Bunn is mishandled as Bunn trying to look at the no-beater situation as it feeds into Melchior, and that's a hat trick for Melchior. And Toronto gaining some steam here, 70-40. Mosley's coming in a little hot and then decides to slow up. Pass down low to Brechting. Brechting, laser shot, no good. It was wide. Mosley blocked, and Dykstra comes away with the rebound. Dykstra gives it to Caldas. Caldas has recognized that there's no beater, so now Caldas is going to run in, tries to get by Mosley, completely takes Mosley out on the tackle and finishes. And all the momentum going in the Canadian direction right now. 80-40, Toronto starting to turn it up a little bit. Cleveland looking a little ginger on offense.
Let's go, Riff. What we running? What we doing?
Let me know if it comes back.
Cleveland with control now. It's Templin and Beeler at beater. And that shot is no good. And on the other side for Toronto, we're seeing Grace Davey, who we haven't really seen today. So Davey and Smithson will take on Templin and Beeler as Derek Taylor brings it up for Toronto on the near side. Passes down to Caldas. Caldas gets around Boris, blocked by Brechting, and Brechting on the recovery.
There you go, Becco. Look at that. You're faster than I am.
So now Mosley will bring it up center for Cleveland. 80-40. As Toronto's got some steam. Cleveland with control. Quad ball guarded by their beaters. Big pass across to Brechting, and it goes out of bounds, unfortunately, for Brechting.
Let's go, Hogan!
So Toronto will inbound after that one. Unfortunately getting away from Brechting, and Toronto gets lucky, so they'll take it back up the field. Devin Dutt in the center.
It's 2-2, it's 2-2.
Over to Christos Caldas. Caldas running it in after the beaters clear it out. Caldas mid-ranger is good. And that is now 90-40 in favor of Toronto. Davey and Smithson putting in some serious work there to clear the lane. And although Cleveland maintains beater control, Toronto comes away with the goal on that one. Boris bringing it up center as Templin's going to attempt a 1.5 maneuver for Cleveland. Locking up all the beaters, so Boris not pushing while his beaters are, as Templin's gambit ends, and Cleveland manages to maintain beater control off that one. Boris slowly moving around the far side. Mosley looking for his options. Got a pick. High one to Brechting. And Brechting gets beat. Smithson with the cleanup there, and Toronto will take it. It's Caldas. Over 14 minutes have elapsed. This called this posturing for a wild throw. Got Mosley to jump once at least. To Taylor on the far side. Up to Caldis. To Dutt. Dutt loses the handle. Brechting tries to pick it up. No dice. Caldis has it. Tackled by Mosley. Mosley beat. So now Toronto has second life on this one. And we'll see what the stoppage here is. There's a potential foul on the play here, some over the shoulder. We'll see what our referees say. No penalty on the play. Toronto does get the ball back after that small scrum at center field, and it is Taylor on the far side. To Dutt. Dutt passes it down. Pass unfortunately bobbled. That is Rebecca Hodder, who we haven't really seen today at all. So now Boris will pick it up for Cleveland. Over to Mosley. Templin gets Scherger to throw his ball back. So Cleveland maintains control. It's Sherwood as the lone beater back for the Raiders. Mosley on the far side. Mosley, some sort of low middle pass. I'm not quite sure what he was doing there because it went directly at Taylor, and then Dutt picks it up. And so now Caldis is going to go on a run, gets by Brechting, who skids on the turf. And Caldis over to Dutt. Dutt gets beat by Beeler, and Mosley recovers. And that is a good defensive stand there by Cleveland. Some substitutions now for Cleveland. Lombardi and Gaffney back in. Hutchman, Johnson.
4 minutes remaining. 4 minutes remaining and 9.
16 minutes elapsed. 90-40 is our score. Toronto with that comfortable lead. Sherwood and Hutchman trade as Johnson gets rid of it from pressure to Lombardi. Lombardi up to Boris. Boris has got his arm wrapped. Can't do anything. Boris is down, and they recover. Toronto recovers, and it's a stoppage of play. And Cleveland got the last. Cleveland got their last beater back into the play as Hutchman had to run a little far to get that missed beat. So Toronto, Dutt's going to do it with a little pace. Going against Gaffney. Dutt over to Bunn. Easy goal for Bunn. And that'll put it at 100-40. Toronto widening their lead. Johnson bringing it up center, calling out Diamond. Cleveland with control. Cleveland has maintained beater control much more this game than they did in the last, and yet they are down further than at this point in the previous game. Johnson, protected by Dawson and Hutchman, passes down to Gaffney. Gaffney's shot is no good, and it's intercepted by Taylor. Dutt for Toronto on the far side of the field. Back up top to Vendua, who took a sizable break in the middle there. Vendua, turnover as Lamb forces the turnover, and so the ball is just going to sit there. It's going to be Riff's ball. So it'll go to Johnson. Johnson was going to face off against McCool. And Johnson deciding to go himself and just kind of skying it. I'm not quite sure why he didn't wait for the rest of the team there. Bit of a wasted possession off a turnover, and that was a really good tackle from Lamb. Top of the field, that's exactly what you want. So Toronto will be right back where they were about 30 seconds ago. Vindu on the far side, protected by McCour and McCall. No good as the shot goes wide. Bunn picks up the rebound. Bunn's shot, is it good? It is. Vindu was right there for the follow-up, sets it down. And this one's really starting to get away from Riff. 1:10 to 40. 1 minute before our stoppage floor. Our flag runner floor and stoppage. Gaffney bringing it up center now for Riff.
1:10 to 40.
To Lamb. Lamb looking for his options. Down to Johnson. Corey Johnson wrapped by Bunn, cleaned up. Johnson still with the ball. Shot no good. Lombardi picks it up. Saves the turnover. Cleveland still with control.
10, 9, 8, 7.
Lamb over to Johnson, intercepted by Bunn. Johnson gets the rebound off the beat. And it's last possession. Johnson passes it off to Gaffney. And it'll be our last possession before stoppage for Cleveland here. We'll see if they can end it on a goal. Lombardi to Johnson, pass just a little high. Johnson can't handle it, and Toronto will come away with that one. And that is our stoppage. After 20 minutes, 110 to 40,
Wait, so was that a set score?
Raiders, all day, all the time, securely in the lead. So for the third time today, Derek Parker will make his way as the flag runner to the other end of the field. And Riff has a lot to discuss if they want to turn this ship around. With the set score at 170, Riff has quite the deficit for themselves to make up. I think they've got to have a better movement on offense personally if they want to well, if they want to score, quite frankly, if they want to have any if they want to have any chance of getting around Toronto's defense, even with having beaters. So on the other side of things, Toronto, honestly, I'm saying keep doing what you're doing. Look for any adjustment that Riff makes. However, the defense has been good. The beaters have had great positioning. They've been locking it down when they have control, of which it's been relatively rare this game. But that hasn't seemed to matter. A lot of the passes that Cleveland has thrown have been intercepted by very good chaser defense and good positioning from the Toronto sideline. I meant to say the Toronto line, but you know what? Lots of people from the sideline are getting in the game, so it counts. We'll see who will be sporting the pretty yellow bands for Seekers as we come out of our break here and players return to their brooms. Toronto will start with the ball. It's Matthew Bunn, number 93, all the way on the left side of your screen. The leftmost player on the field, I should say.
That's where it's gonna go anyways.
Now coming with the flag runner on the pitch, Toronto does have control. That is Smithson and McCall, and that is a boon in their favor. Boris, the starting seeker for Riff, and it's going to look like Savannah Campbell, number 21, the starting seeker for the Raiders. And now Riff is having a change of heart. And it looks like they're going to put Kaz Christian in at Seeker
Current score
instead.
40 Cleveland, 110 Toronto. Set scores 170. 10 seconds Seeker floor.
110 to 40, set score 170. We'll see how this shakes out. Now in the last game, the beaters paid very little attention to the Seekers, as Derek Parker seemed to be able to hold his own against them. We'll see if they do the same here, as Rob Alley has subbed in and is going to take some long strides up the field. Passes to Vendua, guarded by Gaffney. Over to Alley. Alley looking for Starling. It's not there. Lombardi wraps him up and the ball comes out. Vendua saves it from reset. Vendua gets Johnson to jump, and a cry of exasperation from Cleveland as he finishes. That'll be 120 to 40. Toronto maintaining control. Seekers left to their own devices against the flag runner. Barnes makes a beat, clearing the lane on the side. Lombardi beat, pops it back out to Johnson. Johnson gets around Starling, shoots, blocked by Vendua, bobbles it. Does Gaffney come up with it? No. Unfortunately for her rather, it goes to Vendua. Vendua's going in the other direction. Beat, gets it to Starling. Starling also beat. And after a quick series of drives, Cleveland will come away with that one. And it looks like Starling has harmed their shoulder a little bit, perhaps, and is walking off of their own accord. We wish them the best health. Hope they are doing well.
Ryan, by the time we get home, there's gonna be nobody home in the car.
Not sure if there was any foul on that play. I don't believe so. I believe it was just a stoppage for injury. And so we are back in as Johnson picks up the ball after that solid beater defense there. Barnes did a lot of work to make sure that was not a goal. Johnson coming up center, flanked by Gaffney and Cowden. And Johnson's shot blocked as Vendua is going to go on a run. One defender to beat, and Vendua easy does it. And that is another goal for Toronto. 130 to 40. And it's looking pretty darn Canadian out here. We can use that as an adjective to mean a good thing, right? It's looking all Canadian.
What's the numbers? I put them in the fast break article.
Boris now subbed in at Seeker for Riff. Campbell once more just continuing a very, very long shift as Riff passes on the far side between Cowden and Gaffney. Cowden's shot no good. Deflection to Freeman, and Freeman gets beat immediately, so Toronto will come away with it. Melchior wanted to run, thought better of it. Melchior guarded by Gaffney. He's a head and shoulders taller and just pushes her off. Melchior inside to Bunn, and Bunn scores on the small hoop. 140 to 40. As Johnson's going to go on a run. The beaters are down. Johnson gets wrapped by Alley. And now Riff will set themselves up. Johnson was feeling a little zealous, but there were 4 Toronto defenders there. Freeman on the near side here. Freeman passing down to Gaffney, who gets beat. Gaffney to Freeman to Johnson. Score! And there's some combination passing that's been sorely missing from the Riff offensive. 140 to 50 now, and that is Cleveland's first score in quite a while. So Boris will sub it out now for Eric Lamb, number 89 of Cleveland. And Cleveland with control. We'll see if this helps them on defense as MLQ is at center. Kahaney, the lone beater for Toronto. Alley on the far side. MLQ. And now Smithson in at seeker for Toronto. As Campbell finally takes a sub. Dykstra taken down by Freeman in the far corner there. Gets the ball out to Lamb. And, oh, it looks like Smithson ended up getting a catch.
That was the left tip.
So if that catch is good, we'll see. That could be a victory for Toronto.
Catch by Toronto is good.
Catch by Toronto is good. And that reaches the set score, final score, just like that. After no flag running action in the previous game, set score reached 175 to 50 as the final score. So with that, get your brooms out, get your maple leaves out, because that is a sweep by Toronto. Or I guess in their honor, should I say oot. Get them oot, get your brooms oot. Great job by both teams. Those are the closest games that either team has played. Toronto extending their all-time win record against Cleveland to 9-0, and Cleveland still looking for that first series win. Thank you very much for tuning in. I've been Matt Dwyer. I appreciate you attending and listening along with us, and keep it locked here all summer on the Major League Quad Ball channel. You'll see all sorts of games. Hit that bell so you don't miss any when they go live. We're playing pretty much every weekend from now until through the end of August. Keep it locked here. Thank you all for attending, and we'll see you around.